Alright, hey guys, what's up everybody? So I am back here for another video. A lot of shit went down this past week with the whole Quiet on Set documentary, and I think we gotta talk about it because, okay, you have the documentary came out, part 1, episodes 1 and 2, which was 2 hours. A lot to unpack in that first 2 hours that aired Sunday night. And then Monday night, you have the second part, episodes 3 and 4, the last 2 hours, which was even more to unpack. Much more than the first 2 hours, and there's just a lot we gotta delve into. First of all, I mean, like, okay, so you have the basically whole setup for what was gonna run the network for the course of 20 plus years. Like, basically 28 years, because he never left the network until, like, 2021, and then he still got creator credits from 2021 to 2024. Dan Schneider never left the network from the time he worked on all that from 1994, and then got his start on Kenan and Kel in 1996, and then never did that. That never happened until from then until 2021. He never left the network, because from 2021 to 2024 he got creator credits, and he also got creator credits on the revivals of his show, because he had 2 revivals, and a revival of a movie he did, and a revival of another movie he did. But the thing you have to understand, he did all that. He did Drake and Josh, he did Zoe 101, he did all these shows. He starts off with all that, then he goes to Kenan and Kel, creates all that, creates Kenan and Kel. He creates The Amanda Show. He creates Zoe 101. He creates Drake and Josh. He creates iCarly. He creates Victorious. He creates Henry Danger. He creates The Adventures of Kid Danger, which is the animated Henry Danger. He creates Danger Force. He creates Game Shakers. He creates Good Burger. He creates Good Burger 2. He creates Zoe 102. He creates the iCarly revival. He creates all these shows. And then he creates Big Fat Liar 2, which is Bigger Fatter Liar, Big Fat Liar 2. Simply known as Bigger Fatter Liar. But anyways, he creates all these shows, sets up a mega network for Nickelodeon, and he's like the head honcho of the network. And start of the network, it's like the start for Nickelodeon, where it's going to be their turning point for the worst possible dilemma they're going to get themselves into, because he is starting a hostile environment for Nickelodeon, making young kids feel unprotected, sexualizing the kids on the set, putting child predators on the set of all sets of all those shows, doing all these things. And it was happening since all that, because you have so many instances where you're talking about the on-air dares, and those kids were like We don't want to fucking do the on-air dares. We don't feel safe doing them. We don't want to go and have our bodies sodomized. We don't want to do that. The on-air dares went too far, is what the stars said in Quiet on Set. Like, they never should have gone to what they did. Like, that was crazy. Like, going back and looking at that now, like, all of the stuff, like, you have Kyle Sullivan, who, like, was like, oh, Brian Peck was talking to him as the Know Your Stars guy, and he's like, oh, I've drugged you, you know, you're getting sleepy now, you know, you're gonna listen to everything I say, and the minute of a quick second when I snap my fingers, you're gonna squawk like a chicken, drop your pants. Like, okay, yeah, like, that was weird. You know, he was already Pickle Boy, and then he put like a pickle through the hole. Like, you know, the pickles looked like penises. You know, I mean, not only that, you have like Nose Boy, where he has like a penis and testicles on him. He has testicles here. He has penis and testicles on his shoulders. And he's doing the sketch for Big Nose, Captain Big Nose. And he was like, the guy who was playing him, he's like, yeah, this doesn't seem right. All of them were saying none of this stuff didn't seem right. And then you got like LL Cool J, who's just come out recently. He's like, yeah, I, you know, am in total support of all the stars that have come forward. Like, none of this never should have happened. I'm in full support of the iCarly cast. Jeanette McCurdy, Amanda Bynes, Drake Bell, Danielle Monáe, Aviana Jogia, Miranda Cosgrove, Victoria Justice. I'm in support of all of them. You got him, like, saying that. You got, like, a lot of people that are saying that worked on these shows. And LL Cool J was just Jordan. And he worked on all that. He was a regular in, like, season 5 or 6. And, like, I think he worked on the earlier seasons, too. And then you have, like, just crazy stuff. Like, I mean, it's weird because also you have Kenan Thompson. Nothing against Kenan Thompson. I'm just talking about, like, Kenan's character on Kenan and Kel. He was a schemer, always getting in trouble. And then you have, like, the whole thing with, like, Drake and Josh. It's like, okay, Drake Bell's like a womanizer, you know, Drake Parker was, and Josh Peck was the nerdy one. And, I mean, then it's, like, come to find out, right before Drake and Josh aired, you had Brian Peck working on the show. Brian Peck was working on the show, and he was working on Amanda's show, and he was working for the network. He was working on the Amanda show. He had worked on all that and worked on the Amanda show, but he had been convicted of being a sexual predator in 2003. Then he was allowed to come back and work for the network because of his good buddy Dan Schneider. And that is fucked up because, okay, you have a predator, even if, you know, nobody knew at the time it was Drake Bell. Like, that shit is crazy. You don't let a sexual predator come back on set to work with children. That is not okay. And you have, you know, Jason M. Handy, who was working on the shows. He worked on, like, all that. He, like, had those 10,000 photos found in his house of, like, nude children. And he sodomized a young girl. he groped a young girl, he kissed a young girl, he raped a young girl, and he like French kissed a young girl. That's all crazy and disgusting. And then the mom of one of the children he molested was trying to like, and sent like a naked picture to her, was trying to like convey it like, okay, yeah, they were talking online and stuff before, because Jason M. Handy like exchanged phone numbers with all the kids. He was trying to be cool, like, you know, oh yeah, I'll exchange my phone number, you know, we'll get to know each other. Like, that's weird. You're a grown-ass man giving your number to children. You don't give your number to children when you're working on a show, when you're that old. Like, I mean, you know, talking is one thing, but, you know, it's still wrong. And then to send the picture, that makes it just illegal, wrong, disgusting, creepy. And then, like, you have the whole thing, like, with Drake Bell. It had been speculated for many years that there was something going on between Drake Bell and Brian Peck. Like, I remember coming across a Reddit page back in, like, 05 or whatever, and 06 when Drake and Josh was airing. Or, like, maybe even as early as 2003, right before Drake and Josh aired, and it was like, oh, there's something going on between Drake Bell and his dialogue coach, Brian Peck. And, you know, his dialogue coach was doing something to him. And it didn't talk about, like, the full extent of what was going on. And it didn't say what his dialogue coach did to him. But it did say his dialogue coach harmed him. But it didn't say how he harmed him. And, like, it was, like, there one day, and then the next day I try and go back to it, because I was reading it one day. I try and go back to it, and it's like, you know, was not there. And it's like Nickelodeon was, like, covering it up. They tried to cover it up. And that just really makes the whole situation 10 times worse. And it's vile, it's creepy, it's disgusting, it's disturbing, it's wrong, and, you know, it's fucking chilling to have listened to Drake Bell in that second part of the episodes 3 and 4 of the 2-hour documentary, and listen to Drake Bell tell his story for an hour of being raped and molested 14 times over and over again by Brian Peck. And then he wants to take him to Disney World. Like, that shit is messed up. You know, nobody did anything about it. Like, okay, you have that going on, and then you have all these sexualized jokes, and, like, all that, Kenan and Kel, you start implying some in Drake and Josh, you put more in Zoe 101, like, the cum shot on Jamie Lynn's face, where Alexis Nicholas squirted the goo on her face, and Alexis Nicholas was like, you know, that was weird. Like, you're a grown-ass man, Dan Schneider, putting this in the scene as for children. You know, like, it may be a show for teenagers, but you know young kids are gonna watch it. So why be putting stuff like that in your shows? Because, I mean, yeah, like, okay, you know, you can put it in there, but don't, like, modify it to the extent you did. Don't, like, sexualize it. And, you know, it's really, really wrong, creepy, and disturbing. And, like, also, you have, like, that going on. You have, like, the things that were setting up for the next show, which was like iCarly, and then iCarly was way more sexualized, had way more dark humor. Spencer was always setting things on fire. You know, they didn't even talk about in the documentary that Freddy's doorknob, or like door number, not doorknob, like door number, was shaped like a penis. Like, you know, how did that even air on Nickelodeon? They showed it in the show, like a clear shot. And you can clearly tell what it is. Even if you were like 14, 15, 16 back then, you could tell what it was. And like, you're going to be able to tell what it is if you're that old, but a young kid isn't going to be able to tell. But, you know, you're putting all these things in there, and then you have Ariana Grande, Liz Gillies, and Victoria Justice, Danielle Monáe sexualizing themselves like Victoria Justice, like, in all these skimpy outfits. Liz Gillies, like, with her goth look and way too much makeup. You have, like, Ariana Grande doing all these sexualized scenes that puts it way over the top, like it's a porno. You have Danielle Monáe, where she was like talking about the one scene she did where she was like sucking on a pickle and she had all that lipstick on and she's sucking on it and she's just like moving it back and forth, like doing like that, like she was talking about. And she was saying like that is like a thing she had to do that she did not like, because it looked like when she was doing that scene that she was giving a blowjob to one of her co-stars on screen for all of the audience to watch. And she's like, okay, yeah, we may be like, you know, even though it was a pickle, and she's like, we may be a show for teenagers, but you have young kids watching this, and that's the whole point, like, that you have to get across, like, that it's just wrong. And you have, like, the whole thing where Dan Schneider was allowed to work at the network after Nickelodeon found out about all these allegations. He was, like, barred from working in his set on Sam and Cat. He had to work from his office. He, you know, had allegations made against him. You know, the thing came out like 2022, and, you know, that was like where he was starting to be let go, and he was still working at the network. Like, he basically got creator credits from 2021 to 2024, and he was still working at the network from like 2018 to 2021, and from that time, from like up until like 2018 to 2021, and even before then, like 2016 to 2018, he was working on Henry Danger and Game Shakers. And I am flabbergasted that he was even allowed back at Nickelodeon to work on set around young children again after the allegations were made public and people have been speculating in videos. Like, Nickelodeon had made a big cover-up, and you've had like John Graflosky working at Nickelodeon, who has had many allegations against him. Chris Savino, who's had many allegations against him. And if you don't know who John Krafowski is, he's the creator of Ren and Stimpy. Chris Savino is the creator of The Loud House and the Casa Grandes. And, you know, there's tons of stuff there if you want to go find the videos on that.